Hey there, in today's video, myself and Chris Baily, who will be coming along shortly, will be previewing the Midnight Sun Marathon in Tromsø, Norway. I'm making this video because Chris and I are running the Midnight Sun Marathon right there in Tromsø, Norway, or right here in Tromsø, Norway, and we are going to be running as a pair. I'm Chris's guide runner. Chris is visually impaired. We made a preview video of what we thought we were going to do and all that sort of stuff. That went live this morning, and now I'm going to do a few more thoughts previewing what since I've got to Tromsø and meet Chris at the airport in a couple of hours. That's the current plan. As always, this video might be very, very long, so there'll be chapter markers down below so you can skip on through to the bits you might be interested in. Let's get going. I traveled to Norway a couple of days ago. I came earlier than I thought. I flew direct to Oslo from Dublin. It was pretty straightforward. I'm used to flying from Terminal 2 in Dublin. This time it was from Terminal 1, which is more chaotic. Let's put it that way. All the Ryanair flights go from there and the SAS go from there. It's fine. It was fine. It's very good for plane spotting. Loads of big, huge windows and good views of the runway. I could see the SAS planes coming in, and in Terminal 1, there isn't a jet bridge, so you just come off on a stairs, and that was fine for me. And I'd paid an extra €50 to get, SAS sends you this thing saying, do you want an upgrade? And you gamble some sort of money. I paid €50, I don't know. And, but it turned out there was no lounge access, and that's why I sort of paid the €50. And it also turned out that there was no fast track security. Not that that particularly bothered me. I was, as ever, hours early at the airport. And the flight was fairly straightforward. I got served a very tasty salad on the flight, and pretty soon we were landing, a couple of hours, we were landing, or just less, we were landing in Oslo, a direct flight from SAS, Scandinavian Airline System, I think it is. Anyway, then we arrived. There's tremendously good train connections, but before I got the train, I had to get my big red suitcase. I'm traveling with a giant suitcase and a big bag and a bag on my back. Chris seems to be coming with just his backpack. He's coming for less time, and he probably brings less tech, perhaps. Anyway, but when we landed, I was surprised to see in the baggage hall what looked like a gigantic supermarket. Norway is one of Europe's most expensive countries, and there was a sort of tax-free, and there's tax-free shopping everywhere in airports. I think it's an Irish invention, but anyway, it's tax-free shopping everywhere. And in this particular one, it was like a grocery store. It's, alcohol, tobacco, gadgets, that kind of thing. But anyway, here there was, all sorts of just groceries that were tax-free. Maybe it's cheaper to fly out of Norway, come back in, buy groceries and go home than to go down to the local Aldi or Tesco or whatever they have. But anyway, soon we were on the train. Trains are super in Norway, really, really good. And I would have liked to get a train up to Tromsø, but there aren't any. But essentially into town and or into the city of Oslo, and it's every 10 minutes, I think, and it takes 15 minutes. It's really, really comfortable. Stops a couple of times. Really comfortable, really modern. I spent my time looking at the window, trying to recreate the Windows photograph of the field and the tree and the blue sky in the background. But it was very, very beautiful, and it was a nice evening. The weather before I came was supposed to be terrible everywhere we were, but rainy pretty much all the time. But it was a beautiful sunny evening when I got into Oslo. In Oslo, I stayed in the Thon Cecil Hotel downtown in Oslo. It was really superbly well located. It was a nice hotel. It had sort of little internal rooms, which is not ideal, but it was very comfortable, great shower, fantastic spread of food. And the chef I asked, did they have any porridge, and maybe a huge bowl of porridge for the second day. It was very nice. I mean, the service was really nice. I enjoyed it very much. The first night, I went out for a sort of stroll along the waterside, take some pictures. I love looking at ships and boats and things like that. And I went up to the castle. It's very lovely. I had planned to do various runs around Oslo, but time was a bit pressing. I was there to deliver a lecture on behalf of the Irish Embassy of Norway for Bloomsday. Bloomsday in Ireland is the 16th of June. It's the day on which Ulysses, the novel, is set. But I'm told Norwegians don't go out much on Sundays, and therefore they would organise it on midweek. So it was on the Tuesday night, which turned out to be great for the timing of the marathon, etc. And so I was going out the night before to scope around. And then on the morning when I was giving the lecture, I did what I often do when I'm doing a lecture, is go for a run and formulate how I'm going to do the lecture and essentially give the lecture when I'm out on a run to my own head. If you could imagine that. So I did that, and one of the things I wanted to do was to film running up over the top of the Opera House designed by Snøhetta. So I did that. I was warned by Claire at the embassy. She said, look, at the Opera House, it can be slippery, just be really careful going up. And it was very slippery, so I sped up the footage because I actually included it in the lecture. But you'll see that I'm taking lots of short footsteps. But some of the surface is bush hammered, some of it is just smooth paving slab, and it would be very easy to have a fall. Then your Joyce lecture is off, then Chris is in a bit of a bind. So yeah, I made sure that I didn't, but it was a very special little run. I did enjoy that, and then I ran back. It was very nice up the night before. Again, I'd been up by the castle, and if I'd more time, I would have done a few more runs around that. There's a sculpture park in Oslo and all sorts of places. I think it looks like a really nice city to run around, and it's beautiful in around the water's edge. And as I've said, I've done that before. Getting out of Oslo then the following morning, the lecture went great. Well, it went great from my point of view. Not the technology. From my point of view, all it needs for a lecture to work is for the technology to be good, for the technology to work. If that does, then I'm relaxed and I just do my bit. And if people like it, great. That's the kind of way I roll. So I did that, and I enjoyed that. And it was in a place called Mere, which is a really nice sort of pub. It was sort of eclectic, but it had things were very nicely done, very nicely placed, and yeah, as I say, the technology worked, so that was good from my point of view. I will record it. I recorded the audio. I'll put that together in slides at some stage. Put that on my James Joyce related channel, JJ21K. So I'll do that at some stage, and if that happens, there'll be a link in the description to the website. So that was all really good, and then as soon as the lecture was over and I was packed, my mind is thinking totally of the run here in Tromsø. The following day, I went out on the train, very easy to do, to the airport, and then got an SAS flight. This time it was a lounge, very nice, very Scandinavian lounge. It really was very Scandinavian. It was very nice. It really was a very pleasant lounge, not overcrowded by any stretch of the imagination. And a very nice place to be. Then on to the plane. It was kind of strange. I was in the first row, but whatever way they did the boarding, I was like about the 30th person on the plane. Anyway, it was fine. We went up, we were promised a meal, but we got a tiny little snack thing, but it tasted really nice. It was fine. We got up to Tromsø without too much bother. Here, it was, you immediately felt like you were in a completely different place to Oslo. You can see snow on the mountains in the distance around the fjord. Actually, I can see it out here. And you could see, but it was a sort of wet evening. And we made our way into town. And I was, I get on the bus and I'm looking out just to see the road surface because we'd be running partly by the airport, but looked pretty good out there. And then we went into some tunnels, and then you come out into the town of Tromsø. It's probably a city, but I'll probably call it a town. It's a very Irish thing to do. So we came out and into town and into the hotel. I'm staying in the Radisson Blue. I often call it the Radisson SAS, but it's the Radisson Blue, and it's nice. It's a bit bland, funnily enough. Lots of pictures of the rooms on the website. They look really nice. This one is perfectly functional, but a bit bland. It has a very nice chair over there that I'll use for another video. And, but yes, I've got a good view of the sea and of the roofs and of the other hotels, but yeah, but it's fine. The breakfast was okay this morning, but again, they had porridge. I asked for porridge. I'm a big porridge fan for breakfast. And there's a Eurospar near me, about the same distance from the Eurospar at home. And I was able to get very good salad at lunchtime with loads of pasta. I ate last night, I confessed, eating in McDonald's in the world's most northernmost McDonald's in the world. It was nothing to write home about, other than that it was further north than any other McDonald's. It seemed pretty similar. Had what I always have, and it was fine. So everything was kind of fine. I went into what was advertised as Norway's most famous pub. I think that's it there. That's what it's advertised at. I went in, took a look around, and walked out. So anyway, pubs aren't perhaps what they would be at home. But it was fine. And I wandered around the town then and just saw various things. This morning I woke, it was lovely this morning. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. The sun was coming in. Last night I'm trying to adjust my body and I'm struggling slightly. So I'm trying to eat a big breakfast, which I don't usually do, then a big lunch, which I usually don't do, and then almost nothing in the evening. That's what I'm trying to do. It's going okay. I've got a couple of days to get it right. So I'm doing all of that. I've brought my own coffee, Nescafe Gold Blend, even though they sell it here, as it turns out. I don't know why I didn't just bring some Weetabix, but I brought some Weetabix with me. I thought they might have some. Anyway, I went to the shop and I bought some Weetabix and some raisins, which is exactly what I eat. So I'm going to be doing my meals in reverse and trying to stay up late, which should not be me, but if I'm going to be running at midnight, I might as well learn how to stay up till midnight. So I did that last night. Unsurprisingly, the same level of light was the entire night. So just big blinds on this you can pull across. And to this morning was beautiful. The sun was really fantastic. I went down to breakfast. The breakfast was good, big bowl of porridge again. And then I wandered around the town. I was trying to, really my main aim was to walk over the bridge. You can probably see it in the distance, but there's a bridge we go over twice. In some ways, the marathon reminds me a bit about Zurich, where you go in one side and then you go down one side, come back to the city and go back down the other side. It's kind of a bit like that. But you go over the bridge twice. I think at about 10k, you go over that way, and then pretty much towards the end, maybe kilometer 38 or something, I'll have that nailed down in advance. You come back. I wanted to check the steepness and the length, and I also particularly wanted to check the road surface around, because I'm guiding Chris, and I want to be able to give Chris reasonable information as to what we're going to see or what we're going to expect. And the surface on the bridge, it looks like they scraped all the surface off as if they're going to lay a fresh coat of tarmac or asphalt. But whether they're going to get that done before the marathon, I don't know. Obviously, they have daylight 24 hours, so it's not like they'll be stuck for working time to do it. But I don't know. But it was, yeah, it'll be a slightly rough surface, and there are expansion joints and a few things like that in the bridge you have to take a bit of care of. So I did that. In the town itself, I was very surprised. They were taking up sort of what looks like Main Street. Again, I'm thinking, is that one of the streets we go around? Presumably not. But it was like I was there yesterday, and there's a guy, it's just gravel. You're walking on the gravel, which is the layer below the road. They're kind of doing a blinding layer. And then there's a guy operating a big crawl bucket, and he's going backwards and forwards, and people are walking around him. It looked very sketchy. I went into a bookstore today. I was trying to get Nausgaard's My Struggle. Great for a marathon, My Struggle. He says 6 books of My Struggle. And I've got book 1. I was just looking for book 2 in English, obviously. They didn't have it. They had some very good books, and they had some very good Norwegian books in English, which is all I really wanted to do, was get a Norwegian book in English. But they're digging up the road in front, and there's loose pipes everywhere. And I'm thinking, if that was Ireland, they'd be end up endless lawsuits of trip hazards. But, you know, different cultures, different laws. But it did seem it would be very difficult for Chris to get around without help. It really, some of the roads are fine and some of the pavements are fine, but it seemed crazy to me that it was anyway. As I said, different cultures, different things. But the town, other than that, it was fine. I saw 4 polar bears, not dead ones, I point out. It seems to be the thing to do. I mean, I expected it. There was a sort of stuffed polar bear in a sort of outdoors shop. I was kind of expecting that. Then there was one in the pub. I suppose I was expecting that. Then there was one in the street somewhere outside another shop. And I've only seen part of the town. And then I came back to the hotel thinking, there was a lot of polar bears. And then there was one in the hotel, which I must take a picture of and drop them into the B-roll. Or maybe I'll take a picture of all the polar bears I see and drop them in as bits of B-roll. But yeah, there was lots of stuffed polar bears. So if you're wondering what happened to the polar bears, they're all around here stuffed. But, other than that, it's fine. It was exquisitely beautiful here this morning. Lots of, there seems to be a lot of cruise ships come in here and things like that. It does seem to be very much a tourist town. I think somewhere it described it as Paris of the North. But I've enjoyed staying here. I'm going to meet Chris now out at the airport very shortly. The bus, strangely, the bus goes out. The last bus out is at 6:30, and the next bus in isn't till, well, Chris lands at 9:30, and we'll be getting a bus after that. So I'll be sitting out at the airport, doing a lot of editing on my. I would be very careful to figure out what I can do at various times. So if I have 3 hours at the airport, that means I can do the editing out at the airport. So I'm looking forward to that. Excited about the off, and looking forward to seeing Chris. That'll be good. I'm planning the run. We will have no bother chatting away along the run, because neither of us will be going at breakneck speed, and we can out-talk each other. But I'm planning to wait till the start, and as soon as we cross the line, as soon as we start, I'm going to say to Chris, well, now that I have you, Chris, about the 800 years, which, if you know about the history between Ireland and England, you'll know exactly what that means. But that would be quite an appropriate moment, because you have 5 hours to debate the subject. No, I'm half kidding, but we will. I was out looking at things we might like to see. You know, I thought, wow, there's a brewery tour, and I think Chris is going, oh, great, there's a war museum tour. our national stereotypes coming out again. Actually, I think we both like to go to both. So yeah, it'll be good. This is my first marathon where I'll have run with somebody, but I run regularly with my friend Liam. It's something I love doing, and just chatting away as you go along, and it, makes the thing a lot easier. I am looking forward to crossing that bridge the second time coming in. I'm looking forward to waving goodbye to Chris as he goes up on the cable car over there. No way I'm getting on that. I was even nervous on the bridge. You're on the edge of the bridge because the walkway's at the edge. I think we'll be running in the middle of the bridge. I'll be less worried about that. And I know all these fears are somewhat irrational. Perhaps not the cable car one. We'll soon find out when Chris comes down. I hope he's doing it after the marathon and not before. But yeah, I won't be doing that. But I think there's a couple of other bits and pieces we're doing. I think there's a midnight carol service or something the night before. Anything to stay awake we'll be doing. But yeah, so I'm going to pack up now, head out to the airport, see Chris, and bring the cameras along, and then Chris will get introduced and we'll roll along. I travelled out on the 6:30 bus to the airport, 15-minute journey. It was wet and it was windy. And I arrived at the airport to find there was absolutely nothing open. I could rent a car for the usual €400 a day, but that was it. There was nothing available on the ground floor. There wasn't even a vending machine. There was something on the first floor, but it was past security for departing passengers only. So I walked back 1.5 kilometers on this wet, windy highway, had a pizza, that's all I could find. And then I had a coffee in Burger King. It took 15 minutes for the coffee to come. I wasn't in any hurry. I had about 5 or 6 hours. And then I walked back in the wet rain to the airport. Come run the Midnight Sun Marathon, Chris said. It'll be lovely and sunny, he said. It'll be bright. It'll be fantastic. And I ended up drying my clothes in the hand dryer at the airport. But no worries. All part of the experience. And soon enough, Chris arrived. How are you getting on?
Very good, thank you.
Welcome
good
to
to
Tromsø.
Again, yes.
Likewise. Oh, okay, Chris. So I'm sitting on the tall chair, so I look less small than you. You're obviously sitting in a nice, comfy chair, but being 6'2", I need every help I can get to match your level. But we arrived yesterday, or we arrived the day before. We did the shakeout run. How did it go for you? Did I perform okay?
You were fabulous, sir. Yes. The main thing is, we got round safely, and that's always in this sort of thing the number one priority, isn't it? Get round safely, no injuries. And
yeah,
I felt safe all the way round as well.
Good, because I felt it's funny because I think it was as gnarly as it can get. I don't think they were expecting the two of us to show up, but we showed up, and you could see a few. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a few looks as they looked around and said, "What we're going to do is this fair." Yeah. But we went on, and the pace. First of all, the pace was fantastic. Like they didn't over. How many people were on the thing? Do you think?
About 20, 25, that ballpark.
That'd be my kind of guess. Yeah. And we will show B-roll because I think I got some nice shots of that. And what was nice was we went down immediately to the south, I think, along the coast. And that meant, we were in timber yards, we were in an underground car park. The viewers might like to see this, Chris, as we... The scenic parts of Tromsø car park. Right, we're bearing to the right. Ooh. we were, but we were on some very beautiful trails. We were on boardwalk. I'd say we were on every single surface imagined, including steps. So we had all of those from what I can remember.
Yeah, it was mostly coastline. It was mostly picturesque.
All of you are from England? Well,
No, I'm from Ireland.
You came for the marathon?
Yeah, for tomorrow. Yeah, we're running the marathon tomorrow.
Very, very kindly guiding me, so...
This is our first ever run.
Okay.
We're recording, so
Best of luck.
thank you. Thank you. Chris, I'm just going to turn around slightly so you give an idea where we are. It's beautiful. And then we'll spin around. Cool. The second part particularly was extremely picturesque. I got a picture, you and I went then, we went to a lovely little shady beach. It reminded me very much of home, I won't lie. It was very much like, apart from the gigantic mountains, the sea, the weather, you know, all the no, it didn't actually look like the town of Skerries where I'm from. And certainly the little shady beach, the picture was going around. And I thought it was very beautiful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the bits I could see, yes.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I hope I described it well. Look, the sea's there, that's it.
More importantly, you described all the pavements and edges and looking for cars and all the other obstacles that are...
I mean, I think one of the things on the shakedown run that struck me was, I was worried. I wasn't worried actually because the training with Vision Sports Ireland went really well. But our arms were totally in sync. That was never an issue, and that was a good thing because the training day reminded me that was not an issue. I made a slight error on the way back into town. We were going down some road, and there was no pavement, and so I'm running in the road, and I was on the same. If I was running in Ireland, I would always run against the direction of traffic, but we were running with people. We're running in the direction of traffic. I'm out in the middle of the road as far as I can see. And there's cars come behind us, and so I was kind of a bit more cautious than I might have been, and I didn't push you into a ditch, but I didn't pay enough attention to the fact that you were going down the side of the road. But I think we got through it. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, come to the left. Sorry, we're in the middle of the road, so. Sorry. Okay, my apologies there. Okay, I'll keep you further out of there.
Yep, that was all good. Yeah, we survived.
Yeah, and so I really did enjoy it, and the thing that for me was time flew by. I mean, it just, and particularly when we were rushing to get back to our breakfast. But I did enjoy that. So so yesterday then we went out over the bridge because that's the only high point I think the whole thing would be a high point, but the maximum elevation is on the bridge. The night when I came in, I had thought, when we came in on the bus, I think I said it to you, I saw lights flashing on the bridge and I thought, they're resurfacing the bridge. They haven't done that. So I think we'll be okay. I mean, it looked okay. And so we went down from both sides. I was completely wrong. You were right about the route map. So the route map that they give for the marathon indicates the kilometres you've left to go rather than the kilometres you've done.
Exactly.
And that means that we're going to go in, I was it was on YouTube answering a comment a minute ago, and we were 6 hours and 6 minutes away. So I'm guessing we're just under 6 hours away from the start. We will run, I think, less than a kilometre, and then we're going up the steepest part of the bridge. It's one big, long, straight drag up. It's over there. And then I showed pictures of it in the video so far. And then we get on the other side. Then we go about 15 kilometres down.
About that, yeah.
About that, and then we come back up the bridge again, and then we have about 5 kilometres sort of that way. Am I right in that?
Yeah, we've got the...
My math getting about right?
Yeah, we go sort of, southwest after we've crossed the bridge, yeah.
Yeah, and then we go down the southern tip of the island and out a bit the other side, and then we come around. And we were on some of those roads yesterday, but we were running on the pavement. I'm guessing we'll be on the road. I mean,
we will be on the road, which will be, from your perspective, I imagine, a lot easier because you won't have to worry about traffic, people crossing the road. There'll be other runners, but there should be few and far between at that point. And unless the roads are very potholy and terrible, it should, fingers crossed, be an easier task from that perspective.
That's what I think. And as you said, there's 1,500 in the race, and there's a half marathon, there's a 10k. Is there a 5k and a 1k?
There's a 5k and there's a 500 metre kids race. I think it's like 12 and under age.
Why didn't we do that?
what, 12 and under. We'd have to enter it about six times each or something.
Yeah. I'm less than 12 feet tall. Okay, so So how do you think it's going to go? I mean, what do you think the hard point of the race is going to be for you?
I think the hard point for me would probably be where most of my marathons are. That sort of in kilometres, low 30s to mid 30s. That tends to be where I'm still long enough away from the finish for it to be tough. My body's aching by then, but generally, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. No marathon's ever easy. I would never ever say that. But there's no pressure on me or us to perform in any particular way. There's a cut-off of 5.5 hours. That's the only time pressure. We're hoping to go a decent bit faster than that. Nothing crazy, but ourselves a bit of a buffer should we need it. But I'm just looking to enjoy it, really. I think probably physically the bridge coming back, because I think it'll be a bit like New York. It'll be like having the Verrazzano Narrows Bridge to start with, and then coming back over Queensborough Bridge, because we'll be at about 30 odd K in our legs by the time we come back over the bridge.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is that's the 30-kilometre point. I think my guess is that when we get to the top of the bridge on the second time, we'll kind of be going downhill into Tromsø, and then we go south for 5K, and then we turn around for 5K. So in my head, I'm thinking the first, like I like running up the first bridge, up and downy, like Boston is not ideal for me. And actually New York, there was an awful lot of bridges here and there. But this is start, run up one bridge, that'll be good, that'll get us eased in. I think then you go down the other side. And then when we come back, I think the same. I think the bridge is going to be the one where we're going to go. I think once we get up over the bridge, we'll have cracked it a bit. We'll be kind of going into the town feeling a bit good about ourselves, going down. And then you turn around with the 5K, and then you'll know we're just coming back for the last 5K. My guess is we'll see, because it goes out 15K or thereabouts, and then it comes back upon itself, we will see the people at the pointy end of the race passing us by, which will be good. That always gives me a bit of a buzz. And we'll probably see a little bit at the end. So we'll see we met a lot of very friendly people since we've been here. I suppose we're easy to spot.
That's one of the things I'm looking forward to actually on the race. We've met a whole variety of people, Shake Up Run and other things, and actually seeing them, because there's basically two out and backs. One's 15K out and back, and the other one's the 5K out and back. And we'll be running literally down the opposite side of the same road. So we'll be able to sort of say hi and cheer and wave and whatever is going along. So we should get to see, well, you'll see them more clearly than I will. You'll have to tell me who's who. But we'll get to see a bunch of familiar faces that we've met over the last few days, and that'll be fun. That's sort of especially running for us. I think it's a lot about the atmosphere and the camaraderie and that sort of thing.
I'll try and do the names, but I think from our experiences here, you're better at names than I am.
But I'm not so good with faces, though.
Well, so we neither of us know who anybody is.
You describe them. I'll work out
I described them. Well, I did, because colours are a big thing. So we met this guy at Hugh. You remembered his name. His name is Hugh from Newry this morning, and I hope he was okay with the fact that I could just remember the colour of his shorts, because he ran by us. Yes, I thought, that was the guy in the bright orange, red shorts, and so I'll remember the colours of what they were wearing, try and interpret what their names were, and go from there. So I'm not, from my point of view, and kit and everything, we're all sorted. You've got all the stuff.
Yeah, we've got our race numbers. We collected them yesterday. They're all sorted. Yours is pinned on. Mine's going to be sorted out this afternoon.
Mine is magnetised on.
Mine magnets as well.
Yeah, so we both use magnets. For people who use race dots, the bib is the first bib I've been in a race that didn't have holes in each of the four corners. I use magnetic race dots, but I also have a pair that Hoka gave to me at Rotterdam. I don't know why they gave them. I asked them about something anyway. Somebody said, "Do you want some free magnets?" And they're just white and they clamp on. So luckily enough for me, I'm wearing the Vision Sports Ireland fluorescent piece, but the entire number will fit below that, so you can kind of see it says Vision Sports Ireland. There will be some Irish people in the race.
Good. And
that's kind of good. Yeah, so we're off. So you're going to go have a bit of snooze?
Just relax and
And your eating strategy, you basically, I got up because I'm, the early bird, and I was the first in for breakfast. Everybody said, "Why aren't you sleeping in tomorrow?" I was first in breakfast at 7:30, I think. You had breakfast at 9:30, and you ate for England as far as I could see. You basically ate everything that was.
They do oddly a good rice here for breakfast. So I thought carb up, go for it.
Yeah, I had it yesterday, and it was, as you said, very good. I had porridge, and it's because they said it was, maybe it's because it's the weekend, they would cook something for you, other than the regular, very good buffet. But I had porridge, and I had, which is what I would usually have, and I had, it said pancakes, so I had a pancake. It was fine, and I didn't overeat, and then I didn't overeat at lunch, and I've got all the energy in and the waste out to without shocking the viewers and giving them all of the particulars. But that means I'm feeling good. I'm going to have a nap. I'm going to edit some videos. I'm going to watch some football. And then the biggest thing for me is to remember is that although it's the Midnight Sun Marathon, it's starting at 8 o'clock. We're leaving at 7:45. Isn't that what we said?
Yeah, leave 7:45, get to the start for 8, and the guns should be going off for us at 8:30. That's Central European time, so back home for us, that'll be 7:30 in the evening.
Yeah. It is very hard to get used to I mean, I've been making videos here and there around the town, and every time you think it's going to get dark, and of course then no, hang on a second, it doesn't get dark. That's why we came here.
Yes.
But it's supposed to get, it's a bit overcast now, but it's supposed to get sunnier. I think the overcast will go away. I'll show you some pictures when we start recording of just some of the pictures from the other day from when it was really sunny. The viewers will already have seen them because it'll run through. But this place, it's so different when the sun comes out and it's not cloudy. The clarity of light, I'm guessing because we're towards the Arctic Circle, and the cleanliness generally of Norwegian skies and Norwegian everything is really good. So I'm expecting that'll happen. So yeah, we will do some recording at the start line. I will be bringing a GoPro with a media mod and a max lens, and I'll be bringing another camera, and I'll bring my iPhone. You'll be bringing the same other camera that I have, which is the DJI Action 2. I'm going to be mic'd up, and yeah, we'll be able to report back at the end of the race. That people will see some stuff at the start and then at the end of the race.
If you press record and it works, then we'll be in good shape. If not, we'll have to go and do it again. No. Yeah,
yes, this would not be my first time not pressing record on this particular journey. But yeah, we will do that. And as I said, there'll be B-roll in from where we went running in yesterday, which will play over some of this. And then in, looking like about 5 hours we leave the hotel. And good to go. Excellent.
Good stuff, looking forward to it.
Cool. Right, let's say goodbye for this particular segment. We'll see them in a minute. You can say goodbye. We can look at the cameras now, Chris. Pretend we're professionals. Bye. Before we talk a little bit about the race, I thought I'd go through one or two things that we did in town. We went to a brewery. You remortgaged your house, I think. Is that what happened when we got there?
It felt like it, yes. I probably shouldn't disclose the actual amount, but it was a fantastic brewery, the most northerly brewery in the world, I'm told. It was great beers, great selections, 50 odd beers on tap with real difference, really tasty. But yes, I wouldn't want to drink there every day.
Yeah, I liked it because I had criticised the pub there, and I did like it. There had it's the Mac Brewery, which is the local brewery, and they had 40 sort of different taps, and then they had chalk to indicate different beers, and they were from different breweries like Lervig, which I get at home. And so I had an Orange Velvet, which is like an ice cream soda alcohol wise, if anyone's had one of those. But that was a nice experience, and again there was another polar bear, so I enjoyed that. And then we went to the Expo. What did you think of the Expo?
It could have been slightly better organised. I think I'm being polite. It lacked flow. It got chaotic in many circumstances, especially where they had clothing and other such items on sale. It wasn't clear. Apparently, there was a rail of like T-shirts and things just to try and for sizing, and then you could ask for them in the size that fitted you. But that wasn't clear to me, and you agreed that it wasn't just my eyesight. It wasn't clear to anyone else, and it was just a melee of chaos.
I found it chaotic. You had to sort of queue. And bearing in mind, there was 1,500 people in the marathon and several more in the other races. And you sort of queued out into the street, into this rather cramped building. And you didn't know whether you were queuing for a bib number or for merchandise. And then it was just a scrum of people. The merchandise wasn't very good. There was, I know Hugh felt that I don't know what the long sleeve T-shirts were, but he was saying that they were very expensive. I didn't buy one in the end of either the variety. I think you got a T-shirt. And then you had to get your bib, and then you had to scan the bib. And you had to scan the bib so that they could check that the number was working.
Yeah, it was just to check that the chip on the back was valid. It was registered to your name. They did do the similar thing in Tokyo.
Yeah, Okay, but at least in terms of where it was, I think it was a 3-minute walk from the hotel.
Yeah, it was
Something
very
like that.
central, very easy for people to get to.
So we came back. I did my usual where I put the bib on my pillow to try and put the magnetic dots on and get all that. And we got ready, and then the race started at 8:30 and we left here at 7:45 p.m. Any last thoughts?
Great organisation to get to the start line. Absolutely no signage, no one to ask. Actually, Barry did find someone eventually. Lovely and sunny, a bit cold in the shade, but that's going to be a good one. Looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing as well.
Cool, yeah. Likewise, Chris, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, it'd be nice to get to start and then we'll get going.
Well, it was getting to the start that was the key. The start itself was fine. It was getting there because there wasn't, like in most of the bigger marathons that we've done separately up till now, there's been a good sort of event pack with information about where to go and what to do. And because it's such a small marathon, I think we both figured that it'd be really obvious we turn up in the central location on the map. There'd be either stewards or signage or both, and it'd be easy to identify ourselves. The numbers had different colours in the back, so it was obvious to anyone looking at you whether you're running the marathon or the half marathon. But again, it was a bit more chaotic. There were people with medals who'd finished the earlier races, people who were running the half marathon, which started a half hour after our full marathon. And I think eventually you found someone in a high vis you could ask, but we spent ages going backwards and forwards, retracing our steps, just trying to find where the start was for the marathon, which was not the best.
Yeah, I did find out. I thought maybe I should have prepared a bit better, but ultimately it wasn't that hard to find, but it was slightly disconcerting at the start because, as you said, there were so many people coming who were finishing one race, and then there were people who were maybe getting ready to start the other one, which was the half marathon. I think people finished in 10K. And it was like a scrum of people all over the place. And it was not impossible, but it took a bit of, and there weren't very many people there to help. But we found the start, and there was some sort of exercises going on, which I'm quite happy I missed. It kicked off pretty much bang on time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I looked to my watch and we purposely stood to the side and let everyone else get ahead of us because we were conscious we were sort of a visually impaired guided pair. We didn't want to get in the way of people. We wanted to give ourselves a bit of time and space. It took us about 2 minutes to get the whole field, all 1,500 people, from, say, the gun going off at 8:30 to us as pretty much the last people to cross the start line.
10 seconds.
Woo! Okay, Chris, we gotta synchronize the Garmin, the stride.
3, 2, 1.
Woo! Right, well, I'm gonna you tether, we're recording. We go through the line. Huh.
Right then, let's go.
Right, we're off, Chris. I've got you. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to be photographing you, not me. It was a nice start. I liked it. I did it. This particular one, I brought the GoPro and did a bit of filming here and there, and I'll put B-roll over this so people can see. But I actually enjoyed the start, and there was a certain buzz, and as you said, we were at the back, but it was like being at the back of a fairly crowded start pen, because everybody, we could have waited, we could have whatever, but we just pretty much joined in at the end and we headed down. And so we came down, you do a few twists and turns. What was interesting, I think we passed the hotel here. I don't know how many times we passed the hotel. We certainly passed the hotel or came very near the hotel at the start and at the finish. So we came downhill just about 100 yards from the hotel and we headed out towards the bridge. And I was really looking forward to the bridge. I really was. I like hills and I like steady incline and just you put your head down. So how did you find going up the old bridge?
I enjoyed that. I got into the swing of it then. It was a bit, say, too crowded to really get going until we got to the bottom of the bridge. So I was having to chop my natural stride anyway, so it felt inefficient, but it was safe, but we couldn't have gone any faster. Then we got to the incline of the bridge, and I think everyone else had a bit of a shock to the system. We knew it was coming. We're both happy going uphill. So that was the point where, with your guiding, we just steadily just sort of
Yeah.
I mean, nothing chaotic, nice and steady.
Yeah.
Just sort of made our way past a bunch of people, and we got going.
Yeah, we got going, and I found the surface was really good on the bridge. I mean, I was worried before that the tarmac wasn't smooth or whatever because it'd been scraped off, but actually it was fine. And I remember when we crested over the top, you think, right, that's the highest point, and we have to come back here one more time. But it was, and I like the way they organised it to the points where the essentially the big hill, which is the bridge here, which is pretty much kilometre 1.5 at the peak, and then when you come back around kilometre 30. So we headed down, we passed the beautiful church and headed down. So we headed on that side of the river, and we were going down 15k. And how did you enjoy that bit?
To me, visually, that was the highlight of the race. That was stunning. We were so lucky with the weather. It was sunny all the time. So as we came down there, the sun was behind us. We had the fjords and the main sort of island part of Tromsø on our right-hand side, and other snow-capped mountains just beyond that. It was beautiful. Some dodgy bits of sort of tarmac to navigate, but you were fabulous. You spotted them. You warned me. We just took it steady.
I found that you came off the bridge, and it was a bit narrow because you could see a road that they seemed to have closed, but we were on effectively the cycle path or something. And I remember thinking to myself, this was going to thin out. I probably said that on the previous one, but it didn't thin out. It certainly didn't thin out till I think after we turned the bend at about 15k. That was my recollection of it. But we headed down, and I remember, there was. And one of the things that was interesting is it's late in the evening, and because we started at 8:30, and there were people out our entire journey. There were people out cheering. So there were people out cheering till well after midnight. Families, and I found that. Again, as everyone who turns up to support, I found that really enjoyable.
Oh yeah, me too. That was fabulous. Yeah, the number of people out there, given that it's quite remote, to be honest, and they're out there and they're cheering us on when there's only sort of what at that point would be a handful of people going past. We were not quite the very tail end, but we were way nearer the back than the front. Yeah. And these people hadn't given up on us. They were still there cheering everyone just as vociferously as they were hours before.
Fairly early on, I was quite happy that I had decided not to pick. The more I think about it, the happier I am that we decided that we would carry water, carry all our hydration and all our stuff. So we were able to bypass the service stations, which weren't that very. I think every 5k they were giving out water or whatever. The weather was extraordinary. I remember saying to you as we go by, my one bugbear. Anybody who watches this was that the bins at the end of the stations were too close to the stations, so that by the time everybody had drunk something, they were literally put a bin much further, and then people can put it in there, and then it'll save everybody an awful lot of time. But anyway, and then somebody running beside us said, "Why don't you tell them?" So we're making a video to tell them. Hey? So that was good. We headed on down, and I remember I was stunned at how beautiful it was. I mean, it really was. I mean, and I had been making an earlier piece of this long video. Where I was laughing at the idea of when I got soaked going out to the airport to meet you telling me, come on, we do the Midnight Sun Marathon, it'll be sunny. And it was absolutely glorious. We've been here, how many, 5 days? I've been here about, I think, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I think I'm about 3-ish or something. I lost count. Yeah.
And we got the peak weather. Literally, the clouds burnt off at about 5 o'clock yesterday evening, and then it was crystal clear. And by crystal clear, I mean, you could see, well, I could see, sorry, Chris, but pin sharp, you could see things. I mean, I'm guessing for you it was as bright as it gets.
Oh, it was perfect from that perspective. Yeah, it was fabulous.
Yeah, so we headed on down, and next thing I thought was it was more hilly than I thought. So it sort of rolled up and down a lot, and I was not expecting that. How about you?
Yeah, I agree, and there's other people we spoke to after the race who agreed with our assessment of it. I mean, you look at the data, and we've got, I can tell you the metres or feet of elevation, but it felt more than what the number says. It felt like there was very little that was actually flat. It can't be true, but that's how it felt.
Yeah, I didn't find it. I mean, the rolling in Boston I found difficult more than running, but I was running along, and I was enjoying it. We met some people, because in a race of that, you're very close to some people, and I don't know, it was a couple we passed, and they passed us over and over again, and they were fun to chat to. And there was a very nice atmosphere, I thought, with people in the race, and people were generally pretty friendly, and yeah, I enjoyed it rolling along. And then we were doing some math, because unsurprisingly we were chatting the whole time, so because we were running at pace, we could do that. And then we were trying to figure out at what point in time would the lead runners come around and be returning, because that was one of the things. We calculated that. I was shocked when they came by. They had a very good, I knew, I'd worked it out about whatever it was, 5K from the end or 10K from the end or whatever. But I figured out they were coming, but the two guys ran by at such speed and right side by side. They were literally side by side, flying. And the third runner was at least a kilometre behind.
Oh yeah, there was a decent gap between the first and second pairing and whoever was third, absolutely.
Yeah, and they had bicycles. The organisers were on bicycles, so they could warn people that, because we had to stay. I think we stayed to the left-hand side as they came through. But that all seemed to work really well from my point of view. It was. I thought we were going under a tunnel at one point. We went under an underpass on the road, but it was sort of dippy up and downy, and the road at one point in time, there was like a car on the road, and I was thinking, do they have to? And they wasn't using their hazard warnings. The car behind was using their hazards, but largely it was pretty safe, I thought.
Oh yeah, and there was marshals at the right points, and
yeah, and then we got down to where we thought the turn would be about 15k down on that side, and just before that, about a kilometre maybe before that, there was one single toilet.
the Portaloo for the race.
And I'd say you and I had the similar frustrations. Because I'm trying to guide you and you're trying to make your way, and there's people who are just randomly, on one side of the road there was another drink station, and then on the other side of the road there's a Portaloo. And there were people just sort of randomly wandering across, and you're thinking, anyway, we know what we were thinking. But they
Please look where you're going.
Yeah, and then we went down, and I think we were both pleased to see the turn, because you've then made 15k and you're running back, and I've got in my head, we're running back towards the bridge, which I'm again looking forward to running over, and I'm thinking we got the last 10k. So we ran along, and about 20k, I got a problem. I suddenly started to bonk or run out of a little bit of energy, and I was a bit surprised. I was a bit worried about that. And I was thinking, oh no, please, no. So I'm starting with that. And then I had brought with me, I had the Kendall Mint gel, and I had a lot of water. I brought 1.2 litres of water, and I drank actually 1.2 litres of water. But a lot of it, I just decided I would drink more. But I had brought these little, they're like little Danish pastries that they sell here. I think I thought it's a Swedish flag and a Norwegian flag on the back. So I brought those, and I ate 2 of those, and I began to feel much better, which I think you probably noticed.
Oh, it was night and day. Within a couple of minutes, you were sort of, I'm okay, but I'm not 100% okay. 2 minutes later, you're like, bam, Barry's back in the room.
Yeah, it was funny because I'd been watching this. Jorn Windblad makes these great videos. He's Norwegian, and he was doing this Everesting thing, and he was talking about how he felt really, really terrible at one point. And then a little while later, he felt better, and he finished really strongly in that particular race. And so I was kind of thinking about that things can get better, and they did get better. And then we went along, and then you wanted to, shall we say, go to the toilet. You wanted to...
Yeah, that has never happened to me in any race ever, but yes, my stomach decided to do
before the stomach. Before the stomach, you decided you wanted
that toilet.
Yeah, and then we were running along, and then suddenly we'd seen, because we'd only seen one Portaloo in the entire marathon that far, we'd seen numerous men standing by the side of the road, and then we were running along, and you're saying to me, look, let's find a tree or whatever it was, and I'm looking, and a woman who we'd met and been chatting to, she suddenly veered off to the right up a lane. So we thought, oh well, if it's all right for her to run up that lane, we'll go up the lane.
Okay, you pull down, stop, turn to the right. We're going laning, we're go up the lane. Everyone's using this lane, sorry. Sorry, Chris. Just turn to the right immediately and just go. Or sorry, to the left, go left. Sorry.
So we did that, and then we headed on, and I was still feeling good. And then you started, this is about kilometre 24, 25, you started to...
Yeah, the stomach started doing a little washing machine impression, and it got uncomfortable, and the jigging up and down of the running motion was not making it any better.
Yeah, so I was trying, at that stage I'm thinking, I got to G him along as best I can.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm kind of, but we're going along, and then we're looking for a physical toilet, and I'm on the lookout. And I had remembered that the church, which we'd visit, you can see it in the background, and we had gone over the previous day, and I had overhydrated. Anyway, they had a toilet. I was thinking, will the church be open or whatever? And then I saw, I think, a Shell fuel station. I saw a fuel station. And I thought, right, they're going to have a toilet. It was a standard, say, fuel station like you'd see in the States, or you'd see in Ireland, or you'd see in England. And they're selling stuff. And in we go, and I could see a toilet straight ahead. And I was, to use a phrase, relieved. And
I was also.
And you were. And then one of the things we should say, there was an ambulance man there was an ambulance woman who was in at the time, and then her colleague was waiting, and he took one look at you, and he immediately said, no, you go ahead. And then, again, just to thank all of the people who support everybody on races.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're on the race or not, but he was, very gracious.
Yeah.
And so you went in, and then I wandered around, so I'm wandering around the convenience store. And I'm thinking to myself, I seem as I'm here, so I bought myself a Snickers ice cream.
You were doing your weekly shop.
Well, I was sitting here and I was thinking, well, just in case I run out of energy, or seeing as I'm here, what would I like? And of all of the things, I thought, and I was thinking to myself, maybe ice cream is a bad idea to be eating on a marathon. But I felt fine.
You were very kind. There was a call through the toilet door. Chris, do you want anything? I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. And then I ate this. It was very, very nice. And then we headed off towards the bridge. And much to my great joy, we ran up the bridge. And on this side going up, I think the incline is less, but we ran it. So we ran both sides of the bridge. I was very pleased with that.
Yeah.
And we ran down the other side, and we were having to and at this stage, we weren't allowed to go down the centre of the bridge, even though it was closed. We had to go on the right-hand side, which is ordinarily the cycle path side. And we ran down, and I remember we had to sort of plant our leg, because it is quite steep, and it is quite bouncy. So I think my quad certainly felt it today, that downward. How about you?
My quads were okay with that, I think. The piece on that was really cool was we were running over that bridge at midnight.
Yes, that was stunning, because you said to me, look, I think it was going to be midnight when we were on the bridge. And it was literally, and I looked at my watch, and it was 0000.
Okay, Chris, it's midnight. Woo! Smile for the camera.
Yeah, that was cool.
I liked that, because the bridge is central to the race, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
I did think the fastest finishers would not have technically run at midnight. Isn't that correct?
Oh, yes. The midnight would have been about 3.5 hour finish time.
Yeah. So I was really pleased with that. And then we headed on. Now, you and I met several people. We met Yimmy, who's your friend from London. What is Yimmy exactly? He's got a charity channel or something, is he?
He runs for a charity called Young Lives versus Cancer, and he runs, he's he's set up a Facebook group for quite a number of years now, mainly for people running the London Marathon. He's run it a number of times, and he offers lots of advice and support, and he's just a really giving, funny, generous guy.
Absolutely.
We had a coffee with him a couple of days ago.
Great fun. But we spoke to Yimmy, we spoke to a Belgian couple. I thought they were French, but they were Belgian. I think this is a common theme. I don't know how many people I asked at my James Joyce lecture, I asked 2 people where they're from, and they told me I'm from Ireland. So to give you an idea how, Anyway, so they said it, then Hugh said it, who was from Ireland, from Newry. Hugh said it.
Well, the guy James, the guy next to me on the plane on the way out.
And they all said that they found the last 10K hard. I didn't, as it happened. We started a bit, but it does go up and down quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Hugh was saying that because you're going out the 5K and then back in the same 5K, he found it maybe a little bit demoralizing. But I didn't. I enjoyed it. And one of the reasons I enjoyed it was exactly the same piece that we had come back the previous day on the shakeout run. And also we got to go down the southern tip and just go round the corner a little bit to see the other side of Tromsø Island, I think, and which would have, at that stage, it would have been south of the airport. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the turnaround. And we headed back.
Okay, Chris, how are you feeling?
I've been better. 4.5K to go. but I just want to get it done now, to be honest. It's been really good, fabulous views, but yeah.
What you're basically saying is you've had enough of me, haven't you, Chris?
No, I've had enough of my shit.
You've had enough of my bad puns and silly jokes, and you know.
Oh, they've kept me going. Honestly, there's been some darker moments, and they've kept me going.
But at least we got to discuss the 800 years.
Someone's got to be in charge of the world.
Right, okay, we're off.
And then at one point in time, we were kind of doing walking, running, and we were walking fast. How fast? We were walking quite fast.
About 10.5 minutes per kilometre, so it's not crazy. It's just 5-ish k an hour, 3 miles an hour. It's nothing special.
Scene 5. Barry explains Ulysses to Chris, who promptly falls asleep.
And then every time we get to downhill, I'd be saying to you, "Come on, we'll run this bit." And I was thinking to myself, right, I love running across the finish, and that was in my mind. And so I told you, because I knew where the brewery was, unsurprisingly, and I thought, right, that's about 500 metres from the end, and I said, look, we're going to run from the brewery. That was our target. And as we came down to the brewery has an overpass or something. You could see the brewery pretty easily, you know. And I suddenly remembered, I thought I'd turn around, I could see Yimmy in the background. And I thought I saw him, but I wasn't even sure if it was him. But I decided that, regardless, I was going to tell you I saw him, because I thought, Chris will be competitive enough now. He'll.
And I was.
Yeah. You suddenly perked up. Right. Okay. Yeah. We can't let him catch us. Whatever we do. And so we had a great. I absolutely adored the last 500 meters. I think, and I've got pictures of it because I got out the GoPro, and you're allowed to have GoPros on it. And
Hammer time, Chris. All right, Chris lands ahead. How do you actually go? Woo! There we go. You got it, Chris. You got it. You got it, baby. You got it. Woo! Thank you. Get your medal. Matthew Taylor from Great Britain. Fantastic.
yeah, so we crossed the line, and both forgot to stop the watches, or you know, it's not the first time for me.
Yeah. Well, we got our medals. We gave each other a big hug and thanks, and we'd had a great run. It was The watch didn't matter at that point.
I think I was 3 hours 52, and the only reason I know is because they read it. Some guy I could hear because we waited for Yimi to cross, and I got pictures of Yimi cross, and I could hear my name suddenly, and then they announced the time. And then what did we do? Oh, we went to take pictures of her, you know, a sort of selfie where I forgot to bring the camera. Oh well, down at the dock, and I got you down on a dock, no protection, with gaps in the floorboards.
Thanks.
All ready to take the photograph, and I forgot to bring the iPhone because I'd taken it out here because of various things. But anyway, we took some pictures with the cameras. We came back and we took pictures, and then I wandered around. You probably went and drank a lot of Coca-Cola, did you?
I rehydrated.
Yeah. So we did talk about this earlier. How much Coca-Cola do you drink a day?
More than I should do.
Okay, more than you should do. Fair enough. Okay, so you went and had some Coca-Cola, and then I went. We took a few photos, and we probably both Strava and did all that sort of stuff. And then I went around, and I took a few pictures at night because it was extraordinary. The light was just. I mean, it was a totally clear sky. Yeah. One of the things I noticed in the race on the way back, I suppose we both. The sun was very bright, but it was low.
Yeah, that was a challenge when we'd done the first 15k and then turned at that first proper turning point, heading probably roughly north, isn't it, give or take, on the way back towards the bridge and the cathedral. The sun was bright and low, and we both had caps on, but we were very much, I think, well, I certainly was, I'm sure you were the same, using the peak of the cap at an angle just to
100%. Try
and just block out that bit of the sun so you could just have any visibility, because if your guide can't see, you're both in trouble.
Yeah, I was conscious that I don't know what it was like for the lead runners, because if you're the lead, I mean, because you're going at a hell of a pace.
Yeah. Well, those guys finishing was about 2 hours 21.
Somebody said that. Yeah, I still haven't looked up who won, but anyway. But we finished, we wandered around. I went down and I took a few pictures because I was just so struck by the light, and the quality of the light during the entire marathon was just extraordinary from me. And in the distance across the fjords, you could see the snow-capped mountains, and I think that was just wonderful. I think So if we were to say that what went right and what went wrong, so what went right for you, Chris?
Pretty much everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it was. Well, there's one obvious thing that went wrong, which we will get to. But generally speaking, everything went right. Really, from a race perspective, the pace when we were running was really in my sort of steady, comfort, easy sort of zone.
Yeah.
The weather was on our side. I mean, you can't book the weather, but if we could have booked the weather, we'd have booked what we got. It was perfect. It was warm enough, but not too warm. It wasn't too cold. It was dry. The views were fabulous.
Yeah, I certainly, from my point of view, pretty much everything went right. My fueling, I think, was slightly different to yours in that I didn't eat very much yesterday. I had a big breakfast on the morning. Well, not a big breakfast. I had a pancake and I had some oatmeal and not much else. I think maybe I had a bacon and eggs as well, or something like that, but not massive. And then lunchtime we both had a pizza. It wasn't a particularly big pizza. It was nice. And then for my meal before the race, I had my regular Weetabix with some bananas and raisins, and I didn't. And because I had drunk all the coffee in the morning, all of that worked. All of that worked well for me. One of the things I was worried about was that I didn't get any sleep in the afternoon. I couldn't sleep. I was making videos and editing what we'd done, and everything was, and I didn't get any sleep in the afternoon. So effectively headed out, and I would be a big middle of the afternoon sleeper ordinarily, but I headed out in for the midnight marathon. Got back at, I suppose, 2:30. By the time I got to bed, it was 4:30 in the again, and I think I got according to my watch 2 hours and 18 minutes sleep. Then because I got up as soon as breakfast was up. I got up and I was there at breakfast, and then ate mine, came back in, did some more editing, and then we went down for breakfast. But from my point of view, it's certainly a bucket list marathon. Absolutely. How about you?
I would definitely, especially if you get the right weather. I'm not sure it'd be quite as nice in a grayer, wetter day, but...
Yeah, the first night I arrived was very grey and very wet. It was a bit windy. And I thought it would be interesting, but nothing compared to if you do get the weather. Now, obviously people watching this, they're thinking, I might like to do that race. And I just hope if they do, they get the weather that we got. And I think I was looking just 10 days or 5 days either side of it. There was like 2 really good days. And today was, what temperature was it today? 21 degrees, something like that?
It's about 20, give or take, yeah.
Yeah, and it was nice. I think the one advantage that it has, as well as, just the sheer physical beauty of it. I mean, we talked about a couple of things that we didn't like in the organisation, but there could be more toilets. The Expo wasn't great. But the town itself, everything is so centrally located. Everywhere that we wanted to go, it's kind of, you come out of the hotel, you turn left and then turn right, it's there. It was a 7-Eleven. I actually went to 7-Eleven last night and I got myself a bottle of Coke after following your lead. Yeah. But I think it is one of the, you've run all 6 major marathons. Yeah. It's not a major marathons.
We don't need the logistics to get to the tour from the start line. We could literally just pick a time at our hotel, walk down the street. We didn't do a bag drop. There was no need. It would have taken us longer to get a bag than it would just to get back to the hotel. We just rocked up at the start line, basically. Obviously, a bit of time to spare.
Yeah, we could have stayed in almost any hotel, and they're all close to the start line. But we could have left here at 5 to 8 if we knew where the start was, and we could have left at 5 to 8, and we would have been there on time. And actually, when we came over the second time, the race, we could have literally gone into the hotel because it's on the course. It was literally there, so you could have nipped in and done whatever you needed to do. But yeah, I enjoyed it immensely, Chris. So I'm just going to say thank you for asking me to do it. It was an honour. I mean, it was an honour to do it. Something I did. It was a bucket list thing on so many things. But yeah, I've had a great time. So I think I can hear Mac Brewery calling me.
I can hear it too, and I think I need to buy you a pint for Green to come along. And yeah, so in order for me to go from never guiding anyone before to coming across with someone you barely knew to guide me. As I say, I've said it to every guide because it's the truth. It's not just a cheesy line, it's the actual truth.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't have done that run without you, so thank you, sir. It's
well,
been
yeah,
an absolute pleasure.
It was amazing because we could just chat around the whole thing, and it was For me, it was as relaxing as a marathon is possible to be. I've never been as relaxed on a marathon, in part because I could, once I knew that I was over the little thing in the middle where I just ran out of a little bit of energy, I just felt great the whole time. And I thought, yeah, we've got this. We've got this. And I didn't have to worry about should I run faster, should I run slower, or anything like that. I could just run and enjoy it. And obviously we had a whole lot of jokes and stupid, silly comments and family history.
We talked a lot for the whole 5 hours, which is available as a podcast to download if you're struggling to get to sleep.
No, I don't think like that sort of podcast and this sort of channel. But yeah, so we go off to the pub and we'll see everybody in the next one. Today is Monday, the 24th of June, 2024. It's the day after the Tromsø Midnight Marathon because it was yesterday and also the day before. I'm rested. Chris went off this morning on the 4:45 a.m. bus. I'm doing the same tomorrow morning. It seems like a world away when we were running, but it was for me a stunning experience. It was great to hang out with Chris in all aspects, but when you're running 5 hours with someone, it's you're together for 5 hours. I mean, that's the way it's going to be, and you know that in advance. But it was enjoyable on every front. We just talked our way through it. In some ways, it was the easiest marathon I've ever done because there's a completely different mental focus. You don't spend any time worrying about your own time. I had a slight issue 22 kilometers in, but a bit of food and I was tickety-boo. And you're in it together, good and bad, whatever goes right, whatever goes wrong. But the joy of coming up at the end, I was trying to figure out why I was so happy at the end. Yeah, I wanted to run the last little bit, and yes, we did run the last little bit, and I really loved that. I mean, that was really, I suppose, important to me. But I liked the fact that even though there was tough times, Chris said, "Yeah, we're gonna run this as best we can," and that was very enjoyable. And I didn't realize why I was so happy afterwards, but it's a sense of relief. It's been a big week on a couple of different fronts. But yeah, getting across the line when you've been focusing on trying to be with someone. So that was a fantastic relief, a huge sense of joy, and a joy that's still flowing through me. And obviously I'd like to thank Chris for all of the fun of the entire week. We had a chat this morning before Chris got on the bus, and I did want to say how much I enjoyed doing the guiding. I'd like to do it again. Chris mentioned Achilles in the UK and maybe worldwide. I certainly did it. Vision Sports Ireland I did the training with, but I'd be happy to do it again, and I think I'd encourage anybody to do it. I'm not saying I want to do it at every particular race, but yeah, it gives you a completely different perspective, and it certainly in my profession as an architect, it gave me a huge insight into, I already had some, but until you're really going around with someone, you get huge insight. And certainly some of the difficulties that Chris and I faced at the start of the marathon, I wouldn't have faced if I was on my own, in that I could have run around and found a start really easily, but when you're with someone, you can't, and they can't do anything to help that situation. So a bit more thought, I think, in marathon preparation from that point of view. And at some point in time, Chris will go, and I will go through each of the 6 majors of all the different things that go right and wrong. We've a very long list already, and I've still 2 to run. But it was tremendous fun, and I'd also obviously like to thank you all for anybody who's watched this far. It has been a sort of epic journey. It's an epic. I've been editing all day, and I'll be editing most of tomorrow, I imagine, before it goes up. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.